Hello, friends. The topic for today's life is how to find freedom in your limitations, or how to turn your limitations into an erotic experience. So welcome to everyone who is joining now, who is going to be watching in the replay. So what do we talk over here? What do I mean when I say freedom in limitations and limitations in general? Is when you do something that you don't want to do, but you actually want to be doing something else. So you want to have something in your life, but you cannot have it because all of your resources are used for something else. You want to have harmonious relationships, but you are always fighting or in argument with your partner. You want to be doing something meaningful and impactful in your life, but you have to be stay committed in your work to keep paying bills and making a living, right? So there is this responsibility that is sort of keeping you away from your dream. And you end up feeling like you're in two separate worlds. There is a world of your dream and imagination and desire, and it feels so unattainable because the world of reality is completely taking you away and not leaving any seemingly resources or energy to take care of actually what you desire to take care. So let's unpack this a little bit further. How do we, in the context of the masculine and the feminine, the framework that I use a lot, if you work with me, you know, the framework of the masculine and the feminine. The feminine is your connection to your inner self, your voice, your inner voice, and your desire. So the desire is always the feminine. The masculine is the container that is able to hold the desire, that is able to hold that sacred energy and to expand when needed when the desire is growing. So the process is always that there is a call for more from the inside, a desire for more, the feminine is yearning for something more, and the masculine, inner masculine, is stepping out, taking responsibility and taking both of you, the inner masculine and feminine, into a new territory that is called by the feminine. So this is the process that will never be ending because it's always more that she will desire, and he will always have to go out more into taking more charge and more responsibility. And I'm talking about your inner masculine and your inner feminine. What we see in the world most of the time is those two are not connected. They're not even in communication. They're not listening to each other. They are completely in two separate worlds. And this is where the feminine is that dream, is that imagination, and the masculine is all of those to-dos and all of those responsibilities that sometimes feel like keeping you dead on the inside, right? Oftentimes what happens is your masculine is not serving your feminine. One, because your feminine, you don't even have full contact to it. You cannot hear her. She's not, you're not able to fully receive her because she's usually talking through the body, right, through the emotions. But we have so much trauma on the body. We're so much in our head and outside of our body that we are not even able to first perceive. Hello and welcome everyone who's joining. To perceive the desire, right? That's one. And then that inner masculine, is serving the desires of the external world. Very simple example is when you say choose a profession or career, you go study for something that you think either will pay well, or because everyone else is doing it, or because your parents told you to do so, right? This is your masculine responsibility, the container, the efforts you're putting to pursue someone else's desires, right? So this is the disconnect between the feminine and the masculine. When I say how to bring the limitations and turn them into the erotic experience come through the feminine and the masculine uniting and communicating and serving one another. So what do we have to understand here is that the empowering position is to claim that everything, that all of the challenges that you are given are for your expansion. All of the challenges are for you to grow into the new territory, into becoming a bigger person. Do you want to believe it or not? It's up to you, because there is no right or wrong. You are given what you believe. You can believe that, yes, the world is unfair and it's harsh and you have no control over it. Absolutely, you can believe so, and that will be proved in your reality. What I'm here is to show you that you can also choose a reality where you can take full responsibility for what is happening and what has been happening, and in that you can start writing your own story. So what do I mean by responsibility? So when you have this, when say you have your life is overwhelming, right? You have a lot of demands, you need to take care of a lot of things, and you don't have enough resources, time, energy, money, whatever, to do what you actually want to do, right? And that's where the conflict is. It's like, oh my God, like, how do I get out of this stuck place? So if you find yourself in that place, and this is for you to just be honest with yourself, because sometimes those are very uncomfortable realizations that you will find. If you find yourself in a place not being able to have what you desire, there's two truths that hold. One is that you are not allocating your resources properly, in the most practical way, in the most productive way. You are not allocating your resources in the most productive way. Two is that you are not taking responsibility for what you can take responsibility right now. Taking responsibility means also taking action. So how does this may look like? With an example, for example, I had a very recent situation with the client. So she has, her feminine is yearning for a committed relationship, right? And she had this person in her life with whom she had relationships, and then after some time she basically realized he was unavailable, so they fell out, they broke up, and then later on he came back into her life. And when he came back into her life, they started to communicate again, and then again she's in that dream. Okay, he knows what I want, right? She's thinking he knows what I want. He knows I want committed relationship. That means if he's coming back to me, that is probably like he's now ready for it. He wants it. And she goes into all that flirting, etc. And down the line, of course, she finds out that no, that's not what he wants. And what she goes into after that is that blame loop. How could he do this to me? I can't believe this. What kind of person he is? La-di-da-di-da. Very familiar, I think, to all of us, right? And so in this example, the feminine is yearning one thing, but the masculine didn't come in to step up and protect the feminine. The inner masculine wasn't there in the moment where that old partner came back into the life. What she missed is that inner masculine was meant to be like, okay, babe, like, what do you want inside, right? Okay, I want committed supportive love relationships. Okay, I got you. Now we need to see if this guy is like that. And in this case, she would have asked very peacefully but firmly, what is this about? Like, what is this relationship about? Before going too far in. That's where masculine is in action. Masculine is protecting the safety of the feminine, is serving the desire of the feminine. Because why to waste the resources and energy on something that may not even be, the true, the right match? And it wasn't. But the masculine didn't step in. And oftentimes in our life, and every time if you feel yourself in this sort of discomfort where you're not having what you want, it's because your masculine is not stepping in to support your feminine, and you are not hearing the call of your feminine, maybe. And so she is in her own illusion, he is in his own world. So what we want is that connection, where she tells him what she wants and he acts on it. And every time he acts, there's a new growth that is possible. And only the two of them are able to create this growth. Because if he goes into pursuing someone else's desires and visions, growth is not happening, at least not to the degree where it would be satisfying. You basically end up finding yourself down the line living a life of someone else's, like a person that is not even you, thinking, what the hell am I doing over here? How did I end up being over here? Welcome everyone who's joining right now. What am I doing over here? This is not my life. And that often happens, or all the time happens, when your masculine wasn't serving your inner feminine desires. It was serving the desires of the external world. Now, here's a really important thing to mention. So when I said about that resources, right? Like if you want something and you don't have it, that means you are not allocating your resources properly. Because oftentimes we just fall into that position, like, I don't have enough, like life is too hard, this is too much, I cannot handle it, I'm overwhelmed. And again, you can believe that to be true, or you can choose the reality where everything that you are called for, you have enough resources for, or at least you have enough potential to take care of that. You always have enough potential. Potential, again, is the feminine. Masculine is how you use that potential. But oftentimes we go into wasting the resources by going into the blame. We are trapped in the blame. How could he do this to me? I can't believe they are capable of that. What kind of people are they, right? Anytime we go into blaming someone else, or blaming ourselves. Because when I tell you, oh, you haven't taken responsibility for something, oftentimes people were like right away, like, oh, now I'm the bad guy. The blame is the trap and is what draining you from your resources. Also shame, manipulation, etc. But here specifically, when we speak about empowerment to create the dreams, to really physically manifest them into the reality, you need power for that. So empowerment is always about taking responsibility. We always hear right now, this is such a hip term, self-empowerment, etc. But what it means is that you have to start taking responsibility for your past actions. When we take responsibility, it's not equal to blaming ourselves. And this is the trap that we want to lovingly come out. We want to lovingly take responsibility. And this is what I'm here for. Because, yes, of course, a lot of my work so far has been about showing you and teaching you how to hold the discomfort, how to be with pain, because pain holds great resource, right? Because pain and healing are really important. We need to be able to feel whatever the traumatic experiences that we had, we need to be able to hold ourselves. And that's really important, and I've been doing it for a few years, but now I'm shifting because I see that we're not taking enough action in the world. We've been doing a lot of healing, and I'm actually recording a course right now for self-study on self-healing. But my focus is now shifting into supporting you to actually come out of that trap by taking responsibility lovingly and creating action that would be in support of the inner desires. And where masculine is actually in service of the feminine. And that's very delicious when we're able to go into it, where we're able to come back from that illusionary world into the physical reality and start acting piece by piece. I'm not talking about quantum leaps. Quantum leaps are too shocking for the system. They rarely happen, and there is always a dip. Most of the time there is a dip after that quantum leap. So we're not talking about quantum leaps. We're talking about incremental increases. Every time your life brings a challenge to you, and I know right now all of you most likely who are listening are going through some sort of death, through some sort of a very uncomfortable state where you just not sure what's in front of you. You feel broken. You feel like you can't handle the reality as it is. And it's a lot about switching the perspective, coming out of that victimhood state or victimizing or being, either blaming someone or blaming yourself, claiming where the value and the wisdom of that unfortunate experience, of that painful experience is for you. When you are able to find wisdom and value and love from something that is seemingly a very painful experience, that's it. Like you are unbreakable. Like this is your power. This is where you have your power. Think about it. There's no way you can gain power if you're not actually claiming value in a place where you've been hurt. So taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself, but it means that you are now freeing yourself from the pattern of the past and are now able to start writing a new story. A story where your inner feminine and your masculine are united, when one is in service of another. The masculine is in service of the feminine, and the feminine is in service of spirit, of your higher calling, of your inner voice. And that is so beautiful, and that is a path that will not be easy. We're not here talking about anything easy on earth. Forget about it. 2024 beyond, forget about easy. Life is going to be intense. There will be a lot of chaos. But that chaos is something we can handle. Chaos is a potential again. And I believe right now we're in times where our masculine is healing. Yes, a lot of men are healing. That's why we see a lot of ending to relationships where men need to withdraw and go inward and, take care of some things because they've been so out of touch with their own feminine. And for us, as women, and I'm talking to everyone, right? And for women, it's us healing our inner masculine, us becoming more self-reliable, more dependent on ourselves, growing that inner core, creating a stronger boundary. Sometimes when our masculine is disconnected from the feminine, the masculine can become overly closed, like we close off our heart completely. And that has no value either, because there is value in vulnerability, and there is great pleasure in being able to be vulnerable. But in order for you to be vulnerable, you need to have a very, very strong inner masculine that is able to create safety for the feminine. So this is a really, really big topic, and I'm very passionate about it, because obviously this is an experience of my life, and I'm going and slowly growing through my own, limitations. But I believe this is where we find freedom. I do not believe that we can have freedom in some sort of illusionary world disconnected from the reality as it is. And it's sometimes, or oftentimes, very, very difficult for us to reflect on the truth of the current state. Yeah. And you may be really good in some areas of your life. Maybe professionally you are satisfied, but maybe in your self-care, maybe in your health, you're not stepping up. Your masculine is not supporting your bound. You're not creating the boundary, not supporting the feminine. Maybe it's in relationships. So there's many, many different ways where you will not see it, because it's not. There is benefit for you to not see. There is benefit that you receive for not taking responsibility. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm talking to you about this right now, and that's why I'm shifting my work into holding the space for you to raise your masculine and to support the feminine and to bring that communication between. So this is my invitation to you. If you feel like you're ready to go down into the reality and to bring the dream into your reality, then I invite you to this work together. This is the container that I'm offering right now on a private basis. I am very invested in it because, like I said, for the last few years, I've been focusing on helping you heal your feminine. And it's still a part, it's still a part of my work. But like I said, it's going to be more groups and courses. But now I want to do individual work with people who actually want to bring the dreams into the reality. And I'm invested in it. And so I have adjusted my rates for people who want to specifically do this work to make it more available for you. And I am eager to work with those who are ready to take loving responsibility. My containers, they're like this. I love to balance the feminine and the masculine. It's never about like, husha, like you're, so bad, or, oh, poor you, etc., right? It's about staying toned and staying focused for what is really important for you, for aligning your life to your values. I know many of you will be finding yourself right now where you are not aligned to your values, where you are not understanding, what am I doing over here? What am I doing with my life? Is this really meaningful? Is this really what I'm capable of? Like, this is all? Is this relationship, that's all? That's all I have? Like, that's for the rest of my life, that's all? Or and relationships to anything, relationship to, your romantic relationship, your children, yourself, your career, your job. So it's all now shifting to claiming the responsibility and to lovingly acting in accordance with our desires. So again, I invite you to this work. If this description was enough for you to do it all by yourself, by all means, love it, go. But I know that the things that you're not seeing, you are not seeing for a good reason. You don't want to see them. A part of you doesn't want to see them because you're on autopilot. And it's like going to the gym and training the muscle of being able to see those things and being able to take that responsibility. Because if you were already able to see it, you would. That's why there is a support system that I'm offering to you for you to get into that strong place. You don't have to be with me forever, right? I'm only helping you to train you into having that strong muscle, and then going into the world and continuing your expansion, learning with other teachers, with other mentors, etc., creating, but being in this more of a union state with your masculine and your feminine. And that's where your great pleasure lies. That's where your satisfaction, that's where your fulfillment is. There's no way other than that. There's no way, if your feminine and masculine are connected, you can't actually reach that satisfaction. Okay? So I'm sure we'll talk more about this. If you have any questions about this, let me know. And if you're feeling the call, reach out and I'll share with you the terms. Okay? Much love. Bye-bye.